It feels so right. So my vision for the podcast, this has been coming up for the last couple months. Is I'm like, how do I add more realness? How do I add more of like my fun energy? How do I bring in more of my essence? And what Carlos, my partner, and I have been talking about, he's like, you need to have like girl time on your podcast. And I polled my Instagram people and they were like, yeah, like coffee chats, matcha chats, tea time, like let's do that. And what I find is I either get into training mode where I'm sharing like training and value and workshop type things, or I'm in very much of a interviewer mode where I'm really focused on the person that I'm talking to, their zone of genius. Of course, I bring in my thoughts and my ideas and things, but I'm typically asking questions. And so this week, as you are navigating something really big, and I feel like I've been navigating this in the last couple weeks, and I've had some clients navigating some similar things. I'm like, we just need to press play and fucking talk about this because our voice notes have been magic back and forth. And I'm like, more people need to hear this. So this feels like A, soul nourishing because I get to spend more time with you. But B, I feel like there's bigger impact that gets to happen because these are the real conversations that are happening that I don't know that people have access to. I know your community has access in your specific spaces, but I'm so happy. I'm like so pumped to be doing this.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear what is lighting you up from our voice notes or what's feeling most inspired today.
Yeah.
And I just want to reflect the exact same download to you, which is realness, full disclosure about the whole process. Like yesterday, I had a whole human moment where I like feel like I just opened my chest cavity up and was just like, oh, this is what's going on. And it's preventing me from accessing the part of my healership, my mastery, my mission work that I really, really, really am so dedicated to. And so that made me more mad. You know what I mean? And for today, my download was, what if this got to feel like just a talk, a coffee talk, like
Yeah.
radio show, where it's two
Yeah.
radio hosts talking. We're not really necessarily hardcore interviewing each other, but effectively we are interviewing each other for our common thoughts or our
Yes.
uncommon thoughts. Like what's current right now is kind of the question. So it does feel like a coffee talk show. That's the vibe I felt. And so I love that you.
Yes. And other podcasts that I've listened to, like, of course I want to hear an expert talk about the things that I don't know about. But at the same time, I want to hear people shoot the shit. But like our shooting the shit is like very magical, wild, like expansive, very cool, if I do say so myself.
This is epic shit.
Epic shit.
I love us. Yeah, I think that makes so much sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
we love the most, even the people who we enjoy listening to podcasts from. Like if they had a coffee talk chat with somebody else that you really loved, I think you'd want to be in on that conversation.
Oh, totally. Because it's like, I want to see the inner workings. I want to really know what's going on. Like, yes, the value is beautiful, but I want to know the inner workings.
I'm with that. Let's go. I'm
Let's fucking go.
ready to open myself up.
Let's fucking go. Dr. Amron Bevels, welcome.
Thank you, Priestess. Thank you for suggesting we do this. And I'm really excited to share this with my audience as well. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pumped. I don't even, and that's the cool thing. I don't even know where this is going to go. And I love that for us. I love the magic and the possibility in that. It's like, we knew we needed to record this and maybe it goes on the podcast. Maybe it goes in my membership. Maybe it goes in your membership. Maybe it goes somewhere else that we haven't even thought of yet. And, yeah, I'm just setting the intention that we get to dive in and it gets to be of impact in whatever way is meant to.
I love this.
Yeah.
Go. I'm so ready.
Are you open just to sharing like what's been coming up for you this week?
Sure. Yeah. And steer me if there's something in particular you want to hear from me, because lots of shit's going down all the time in my world. Lots of moving parts at all times. So right now, what is current and what I think you're talking about is this experience as a leader, as a community builder, of having my human triggered so much that it took me out and caused me to just face some past and parallel life wounds, angers, unresolved stuff that I am now facing in order to get myself back online. Um,
Yeah.
so, being more specific, um, 2 years ago, I started downloading information about poisoning happening across parts of the globe. Um, in the form of chemical toxins, in the form of airborne and waterborne or water seeded, air seeded toxins. And I did a couple posts on it and felt at the same time this really powerful, what I'm calling divine feminine directive to start gathering people, creating safe spaces, creating sheltered outside of the mainstream spaces for uncensored, free flow channeling, question asking, heart holding from woman to woman in the spiritual communities that I curate.
Mm.
We need safe spaces to be because pandemic time shocked the crap out of me where I smelled a rat from day number one and had very few people, very, very few people, sadly few people who I felt safe to share all of it with. And I just
Mm.
remember quietly asking people I trusted, what do you think's going on? Oh, you think something similar to me? Can we talk? And I just
Yeah.
remember feeling the terror of, mm, I'm going to say it looked on the surface, the terror of being canceled, like having my apothecary, which is my medicine space of my social media platform, getting just wiped out and ransacked because every single post is like a bottle of medicine unto itself. And I've literally had that happen in the vaults of Egypt in past lives. I know it, I feel it, I've seen it, I've been shown it. And deeper, right? Deeper than just your social media platform. Like, I'm going to get persecuted. I'm going to get rejected. I'm going to
Yeah.
get targeted, right? Like, who knows? There's so much shit going on, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just remember feeling terror during the pandemic and then anger because I was silencing myself in order to keep others feeling comfortable. All others, the ones I was afraid of, and the ones living in my home. Like my literal partner and I, we could not communicate and see eye to eye on all things around COVID.
Wow.
And how can we expect when we go deep, deep into the esoterics, for any one human to see it exactly the way we do, especially someone who's not deep in the esoterics, you know?
Sure.
It's a
Sure.
lot to ask. So, anyway, with all of that, this life wounding and all the past life stuff, I was pissed this year as I was watching shit going down. I'm talking the fires, I'm talking chemtrails, I'm talking crazy fog, I'm talking fake UFO shit. I know it's fucking fake. I get so pissed about human deception. It's my thing that bothers me the most. Some people get upset about child sex trafficking. Some people get upset about other things. I can work around all of other people's issues and like hold the space for them, but when it comes to the human deception, I need to be held.
Cool.
So with that, I got taken out and I didn't even know how or why by this weird illness. Everybody gets sick all the time, whatever. I actually am really resilient in that way. But when I go to see my mom, how many of you guys have this
I
experience?
was like, this is the nitty-gritty. Give it to us.
Mom is sick. How many of you guys, even just picking up the phone and you hear her like sniffle or cough or whatever, and you're just like, oh God, it's like the energy of the two of you. Somehow there's a merging that happens, a synchrony that happens with me and my mom. We're corded in that way that if she is sick, I'm just like, oh, get me off the phone. I can't even be with you because I don't want to get sick. And it literally happens. I'm sure some of you have that same dynamic. So I, traveling for the holidays, went and visited my sister. My mom was already there visiting. She was sick in bed. The kids like jumped onto the bed and like were snuggling with her. And I was just like, long story short, the next day I start feeling a little funny in my throat. The next day, it's progressing. And you guys, this full blown thing happens to me that I've now discovered is what a lot of people are experiencing. Sinuses, lungs, postnasal drip, this crazy tenderness in the throat. It felt foreign. I'm a medical doctor. I'm a mom. I've been sick multiple times. I'm always the person people query for support when they're dealing with stuff. So I'm very comfortable in this realm. And I'm an intuitive through the body sentience. So I know when something's off. This particular issue that was getting me was not natural. This is
Mm.
an amalgamation of different pathogens, heavy metals. I can feel it. It's chemicals. I know it like I know it, like I know it. Add to that, so that I'm already pissed because that's human deception right there. It's everything I saw 2 years ago, rah, or not everything, but just something like that, right? And I'm at Disneyland, trigger number 3, 4, 5, because that's challenging for me. Oh my gosh. Woo! Talk about child underground tunnels, all that stuff. Feeling it. Um, anyway, I got very sick and I don't get sick. And so my body, which is my temple, this is the one thing I do control and take really good care of. I'm not fucking around with Nabisco and Cheetos and stuff. So when
Mhm.
I get sick, I'm like, okay, let's get well. And I didn't feel like I could. And so that made me very, very angry. And then I didn't have anywhere to go. And so I was having flashbacks to COVID, like who do I go to? Who understands this? What do we do about it? So again, I'm speaking about it in hushed voices. Luckily, I've got the leader circle. I've got my free private space community. I can talk to a lot of intuitives who can help me through this. And we start, code channeling, like, let's try this, let's try that. So now I'm here ready to share solutions, but I was pissed, you guys, and I could not figure out how to take the higher perch, the higher perspective,
Mhm.
access my higher mind because I
Mhm.
was in survival mode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my week. That's actually been my 3 weeks. But this week I'd had it. It was like I have a job to do. I have a mission to fulfill. And I can't because I'm in fight or flight right now because of you MFs fucking around right there. Like what? That pissed me off so much. And then of course I had a little
Well,
ego
then
too, like can I if I can't overcome this one and more shit's coming down in 2025, how am I going to be the leader that I know I'm supposed to be? So that became like an issue too. So I wanted to make sure I said that.
Mhm. Yeah. One, it's like the anger then also keeps us stuck in the spiral of like what's not happening and like we're focusing on the anger and then what's wrong versus being able to feel into the solutions or feel into what's possible here to release or move through or whatever. And I'm curious if you're open to taking it one step further about something that may have come up for you in our mastermind call. Are you open?
Oh yeah, I am. Do you feel like that's like the perfect sequitur though? I feel like there's more to say on this story, but yeah, we can certainly go there.
Well, I'm seeing a connection,
Oh
but yeah,
no,
I
you
see
bring
the
it.
connection.
Bring it. I'm ready. Ready.
Yeah. So in our mastermind call, and I would prefer you to share this because it's definitely your experience. We were touching on some different subjects around like where we might feel blocked or what's not allowing us to have the full visibility, the full reach, the full whatever in our businesses and being able to really reach the people that we want to. And you had a really tender moment and realization. And I would love for you to share that if you're open to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a block that I have not been able to see the blind spot or the obstacle of for years of not letting in a lot of people into my business. I'm not letting in the full flow or volume of people into my work. I have the bandwidth, I have the time freedom, the capacity, right? All the things. And my calendar's not full. I know I can see more people. I know I can do more. I know I can hold more in my groups, in my communities and in my courses and in my spaces. And that's just been like a and then of course hmm, you know, great point of frustration when you're so passionate, so powerful, so empowered. You've done so much of your own work and you're just like, I'm on fire. I'm ready to give. I have all the things to give. Universe wants it. The community needs it. The collective is asking for it.
Yep.
What is my problem? Why am I not receiving? And I've been asking and asking and asking and asking. And I've worked through this with so many coaches. And don't get me wrong, we've covered a lot of things, like from
Yeah.
delayed gratification to feeling like I have to earn through great pain and
Mm.
pining the right to be rewarded, all these things, right? And money's not the problem. That's the other interesting thing. Money has found a way to come to me, seeping through the cracks of these other inlets It's literally a block around letting people in. It's like it's a heart block, and I've done a lot of heart work too, right? But I just had this aha moment, and it was like, and I knew that it was like, okay, you're hitting it, or another crux of it, right? Which
Yeah.
was, I have this relationship with receiving people that was templated as a young child, being needed and over entwined, over entangled with my caretakers. You know, if I'm applying a little bit of compassion, it's that they saw me as a healer,
Yeah.
and I was really cute. I had dimples, right? So they wanted to hold me and squeeze me, but I was the teddy bear that just, like, all the stuffing got squished out because I
Yeah.
was very much held and, like, taken up and, like, I need you to be my therapist kind of thing, and,
Yeah.
I've created very transactional relationships because of it. That has been my, mm, reflexive response. I am avoidant attachment for those of you who know that system. I don't get too close. I wanna pay you if I need help, um, right? Like,
Mm.
you'll know that I feel so safe with you if I cry on your lap and, like, literally just ask you out of the blue to support me through a thing. You and I have that relationship,
I do.
and
I do.
I hold it and cherish it so deeply, and it's because I feel so safe with you. I'm not worried about taking too much, but in every other connection, my
Mhm.
partnerships, my marriage, my friendships, my clientships, there is this very transactional gate that is kept in order to keep the energy
Yeah.
divided and healthfully, boundaried.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, and so the connection that I was feeling, and then I want to talk about what we talked about like how to move through it, because we had a lot of voice notes about that. The connection that I see is like you were in Disney, you were with mom, you were entangled in that relationship, and then you're like frustrated, like, why? Why is this happening? I'm frustrated. And looking for a way to move through it. And then within 3 weeks, you have this interesting aha of what one of these relationships with one of your caretakers was doing and how it's impacting your business. And I'm definitely someone who believes that everything is connected in some way, shape, or form. I don't fully believe that like how you do one thing, quote unquote, is how you do everything. But I do believe that there's beautiful parallels, not only from like the trauma and the triggers and the things that are hard, but also like what's working. Like, wow, you've opened up so many incredible things with your relationships with men over the last 6 months. How do we also use that practice and put it into how you're relating to your business, how you're relating to your clients? How like I think it's a positive and a win on all sides. And so I just see this connection of like this sickness that led to all of this, that like perhaps in some way, shape, or form brought your guard down, because it's like you almost couldn't go through it in a logical way. Like you've banged your head against the logical, you've banged your head maybe even against some of the intuitive stuff. And yet here's this really cool opportunity to have your heart cracked open again. And what a profound and tender aha and awareness of something that you've carried around for 40 years.
Mm. Wow. Okay. I know I'm only grasping a fragment of what you are bringing me, and I'm just opening myself to receive it. Thank you.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hearing the only way out is through.
Motherfucker.
Surrendering now, it's okay. And hearing what you said about allowing the heart to crack open. Walk me through this, help me.
Mm.
I wanna get
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
So, you're seeing that my mom connection and my need to really, like, give myself over to the sickness and yeah, um
What I see is like you're this sickness, whether it was legit, crazy, whatever, it doesn't matter the story around it, but it's almost like that was an invitation for you to strengthen your ability to direct your cells, to redirect, to overcome, to heal, to really strengthen that level of power. And within that, it also brought your defenses down around your heart space so that yet again, you can instruct your DNA, instruct your cells, instruct your energetics to receive in a new way, to literally rewrite the programming.
Hmm. Wow. I'm gonna sit with that. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't, yeah,
I
I think we'd let it be.
love the it feels poignant and poetic, and I'm really loving the feeling of it. And I'm seeing this and I'm seeing this and I'm like, okay, where how do they connect? So,
And I want to invite in, like, we release the logic and just like let your cells soak that in
okay.
and just see what comes through in the
Okay.
next day or two. And
Okay.
then we'll voice note about it.
Do that. Okay, I'll
But
totally do that.
but what I found so valuable about some of the other stuff that like we've been talking around this for the last like week in voice notes, and what I was reflecting in my own journey is this giant aha and awareness that I had probably 2 weeks ago. At this point, we're recording mid-January, and this aha came in the last week of December. And really, with the turn of the new year, the turn of the new year tends to have a lot of weight for me without me intentionally doing it. Like, yeah, I spend a million years in the fitness world and, new habits, new programs, new things starting in January 1. But on a more spiritual and intuitive level, 4 years ago, I was in a medicine ceremony on New Year's Eve, and I had gone through a really painful breakup also in COVID. This is interesting how both of our things are like relating back to like some COVID things.
Mm.
And I had a stalker and I had stopped dating, and there was just like a lot happening for everyone, but for me in that moment. And the ceremony was really based around self-love. And I didn't realize that, but it was really on this next level of unlocking my heart. And I remember the shaman, I did like a little one-on-one moment with her, and she was talking something about self-love, and I'm like, "Ugh, if I could just fucking like burn this down, if I could just fucking figure it out." Like my anger came out, and she was like, "But what if you could love your way through it? Like what if you could soften through it?" And it was like oh shit, like I could lay down the armor around my heart and actually feel this softness and actually allow myself to be loved and allow myself to love me. And
Mm.
I'm getting chills as I speak into this. And 6 days later, I met my partner. And it felt like I gave myself permission to lay down some other layer that I still probably in this moment can't even put full words to. But I felt like I used to have this armor that's like, I'm a warrior and I can figure it out myself and I can fight for it. And there was a laying down of like, what if I just don't have to fight anymore? Like, what if I can what if it can be easy? But I didn't have that languaging at the time. Yes, I taught that in a different way, but it didn't like reflect for me, right?
Okay,
And
now I'm
so,
getting it. Sorry.
yes, okay, great.
I'm loving this. I'm like, click, 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 click.
I
Thank
love that
you.
you're taking notes. Amron literally, if you're not seeing the video, she literally has a pen right now and she's taking notes.
I
And
like it.
so I do too, actually. I have my post-its and my pen right here. And so the turn of the new year was really big. This time last year, I was banging my head against a wall trying to figure out what was going on in my business. Like a lot of shit was happening. And I did another ceremonial weekend, this time non psychedelic. And I was in ceremony every day. And I'm like, what is the thing? What's the thing? What is the thing? What am I missing? Show me a sign. And it was like, have the babies. And I'm like, huh? Have the babies? Like, what the fuck? I'm here for my business. And if my community knows this story, but essentially, I was searching for all the logical ways and like the who am I as a coach and what do I sell and what is my mission and how do I make this more palatable and understandable so people get it and people buy, but it had nothing to do with that at all. And the guidance again was just have the babies, and it set into motion so much stuff over the course of the year. My explant surgery, um, my partner and I like really having to get real about what we wanted and what would babies look like. And you and I have talked through a lot. You've really supported me in this last year. And in giving me permission into really asking for what I need and being open to what motherhood can look like. And we did a cross country move and all this stuff is happening. So I know that this turn of the year is fast forward to this turn of the year. And I had this aha. And what I felt was happening was twofold. One, when my partner and I got engaged, I subconsciously went into tons of fear. I went into fear of, can he hold me? Can he financially hold me? Is he actually the one? Am I making another mistake? I come from a divorce. Like I come from also being cheated on and heartbreak, like all sorts of man relationships. And it's as if I was subconsciously testing him. I've told him this and he's like, oh yeah, you totally were testing me. And so I love that he was like, oh yeah, it's cool. I hung in there. But it really set off a chain reaction within my business that felt like it was spiraling and burning down even more. Like if we think of the Phoenix journey, like I just felt like it's burned down, burned down, burned down, burned down. And at the same time, as soon as I got pregnant, I started taking on the story subconsciously, don't know where I picked it up, that being a quote unquote present mom, a good mom, a mom that could give her child everything that he needed to, be successful and loved in the world and not have any issues, right? As if that exists, was to be like a crunchy stay-at-home sourdough mom. And
I
I
love
say that
that.
with love.
I love that so much. Of course you do.
Well, in my vision, I was literally making bread at like in my vision from that ceremony last year. I was like making bread with my big fake nails.
Oh,
And so like there was this piece that it was like, oh, well, that's what I have to do. And I remember Carlos saying, as we're having this discussion about like kids and what was going to happen and what would it look like for me for work. And I remember him saying, well, you love your work. Like, of course you're not going to not work. You love your work. And me getting so triggered and me being like, no, you need to give me the opportunity to stay home and I need to be financially supported if I want to. And I don't want the pressure of having to go work. And, to be fair, like I watched my mom as a single mom work 8 million jobs. We went through a lot of stuff as children. And so I know there's some of my old stuff. And I was so triggered by him seeing my greatness. Like as I look back at it now, I'm like, oh my God. So this whole time I've been pregnant, I'm 8 months pregnant now. I've been like, I like my business needs to stop. I need to be present. I need to blah, 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 blah. And so it became this either or. Either I'm a present stay-at-home mom who's not working, who's just fully in it, or I'm building an empire and I'm a shitty mom. Like that was the black and white if I boil it down. And I am not someone that actually believes that. I have built my platform, my work the last 7 years on having everything you want, having it all, whatever your quote unquote all is. And yet, even though I've been in this space, even though it's what I teach, I still picked this up somewhere. I don't even know how or why, but I think actually now it's because I meant to teach from this space. Like I needed to move through this so that I could teach from this space. And so this big aha, if I come back and land this plane, is that I realized that I was getting stuck in this story and I was getting stuck in this black or white, this good or bad, this right or wrong. There's only one way. And what I realized was I get to have it motherfucking all. That my son gets to see me being present, being fully there, emotionally available, all of the things that I desire. And he gets to see what it looks like to see a powerful fucking woman being in her joy, being in her mission, being in her soul's calling. And damn, if it did not take me out for a moment, like I just, that this aha feels so huge and it feels so tender and it feels so big. And it's been a really big shift. So
yeah. And
if I
this,
bring it back to us, oh, go ahead.
well, I just want to get the time, frames of this. Like the aha was recent, right?
Within the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Wow. And the not aha, the hiccup, whatever was like what, a few weeks or a couple months or
Oh no, girl. Like this has been a solid, like I would say at least 8 months, like even before we got pregnant. I mean, these conversations were happening for a year.
This is epic, woman. This is epic. It's epic because you held that amidst the business platform that you have built, the core tenets being around, yes, like you said, having everything you really, truly, deeply desire. And you were grappling with how can I? can I? Is that even okay? Like, this is huge.
Well, and it was even like prior to that, it was subconscious. It wasn't even a possibility. It wasn't even a question I was asking myself because I didn't give myself a chance to really ask, what do I want? It was just such a like story that was implanted that was like, it's one way or the other. It was wild. Like
wow,
what ninja mind tricks happened
seriously.
in order to like take me so off course from who I've always been.
I would
And
love
that felt big.
Yeah, that feels huge. So you basically resigned yourself effectively 8 months ago
Yeah.
to, well,
Yeah.
that was this and now I'm this because I'm having
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is how we take
It's
ourselves out of the game.
sh- yes, I'm like this level of, and there's a piece of me that was like, I could be in the self-sabotage and the self-beat up and the spiral because like that's normal for me. That's why I teach it. I teach about the self-judgment. I teach about the self-doubt. I teach it like because I know these patterns within myself, right? But you actually reflected back to me a couple of weeks ago in a voice note. You're like, wow, you're just moving forward with so much clarity. Like it's so clear to you. Like you actually called out the fact that I was not in beat up. I was not in, looking at the past, but I was really like, okay, now what? Now what? And I
Nice.
think that this is the thing that's lighting me up about what we've been talking about this week, also on our voice notes. And I've seen this in my clients too, this idea of like, sure, we could sit in the past and like really try to understand, and we can do a lot of ancestral healing and past life healing, and we can dissect these stories and we can like be in that. And I do think that there's value in that. I think that there's value in making sure that we like clean up those edges that need to be cleaned up or tied up. But, or maybe I should say, and what if we could just decide? What if we could just decide right now, hey, this is what I'm choosing to walk forward with. And it's from this space that I'm taking action.
Mic drop.
And that feels huge. This feels huge to me. How many of us get stuck?
And yep, I don't have anything to say to that. Yes, girl. And thank you for reminding me of that this week with my stuff because I was preparing for this to be a long haul. It's like
Yeah.
this is the holy grail I've been working toward for years. So it's got to be hard, right?
Right.
What if the
Of course.
very last straw that broke the camel's back is just this tiny little straw?
I mean, but that's how it was. I don't know about you, but that's how it was with my divorce. It was like I was working through it and I was working through it and we were in couples therapy and there was this and I was journaling and meditating and going to healers. I was doing all of this work. And then it was like, I remember my best friend just being like, so when are you actually going to leave? Like, what's it going to take? And I remember being like, like, I just felt like she just punched me in the gut. And 2 months later, like we were in a conversation and he said something and like, it was just like, that was it. I was done. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. And it was just like, nope, I'm done. We're leaving. Like I'm out.
Yes. I love that analogy and I love your description of that because you had done all the work in advance, basically.
Yeah.
Even though
And I know the women that we work with do.
and you thought it was to save your marriage, but really it was the work of becoming new. You did all that first. And then you were so not a vibrational match at the end because you were so renewed that it just took this one little last piece of dust to get off your shoulder.
The work of becoming new, that is fucking gold.
Yeah, it is.
What if we looked at I have full chills now. What if we looked at all of the healing work, all of the mindset, all of the stuff that we practice, and instead of needing to fix or heal anything from the past, we were simply in the process of creating the new. That is fucking gold, Amron.
I think that's the new technology. I really do. I think you just nailed it. That's where we're going. That's the difference between quantum jumping and like digital processing, right? We were in
Tell me
analog.
more.
We were in analog before digital, right? Where you had to like just the agriculture community, right? In order to make a transaction, you had to grow a whole goat, right? For years and then make sure it looked good, give it a nice bath and then walk it to market to sell it, to trade it for whatever it is you're going to trade. But now it's AI generated trading online 50 trades a second. We're in a whole different era. And I think you just nailed it with your beautiful description that we get to do this kind of genetic remapping, lineage stuff, because the space-time continuum doesn't exist anywhere but here, right?
Yeah.
For our ancestry, for our karmic loads, for our parallel lived experiences, we get to leverage those, all of those now, the wisdom of the consciousness of your wealthiest, most empowered lifetimes as a man, woman, royalty, whatever, you get to access and pull into your reality now simply by knowing it. And if you think about frequency and you think about all that we talk about bilocation and space-time, manifestation, being a trickle-down effect and needing to take a certain amount of time, if we just see it as frequency, it's exactly what you just said. Make the shift internally, and you are now locked in with the vibrational frequency of that far away, would have had to take forever, grow in the
Yes.
from birth timeline. We just have timelines. Wow.
Oh, this is so fucking good. Two things come to mind as I hear this. One, I'm like reflecting on my own process with my clients. I'm like, yeah, in the last like 6 months, I've been doing a lot of like we do coaching and we talk a lot, but we also do some meditations and some clearings. And a lot of it has been around the cellular DNA. And I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, I never quote unquote trained in that, but it's just been like dropping in. So that's been really interesting as I'm hearing this conversation. I'm like, oh, that something is here that I don't fully understand, but I'm just going to trust.
We are being evolved. We are being evolved. We are being evolved. We are being evolved. It's been happening for me too since 2020. So I'm with you. Keep going.
Oh my God. Okay. So that was part one. And then part two is, I'm 8 months pregnant right now. And I'm looking at this gestation period. And like, Carlos is like, oh my God, I can't wait to meet this little guy. And I'm like, oh, I can wait a few more weeks. Like, let's let him fully cook. And I think about gestation period. And like sometimes this gestation period, this, as you called it, this like work to make us new, it takes a certain amount of time. So maybe I was just in it until the right moment, the right time for me to be able to receive it and hear it and actually take action on it. And what if it could be faster? Maybe our physical bodies do take a little bit of time to catch up. Like I don't actually know, because I see this dichotomy of like, I can decide today that it's different. I can decide today that my cells are different. And there's the real human aspect of like, hey, my body has to get on board.
I think you're saying it loud and clear. This is my wheelhouse. I love talking about this topic. So if you want to like hear me feedback, I'm going to say it's just as you said it. It's the both and. You get to make the shift vibrationally very quickly. Thank you for reminding me of that with my like, holy cow, it was just such a ding, ding, ding. Like all my, everything just aligned. It was like, click. Thank you so much. And yes, the physical 3D does take time to catch up, which is why in the healing setting, I'm watching my friend, the squirrel. He's dancing for me right now. We work vibrationally for faster outcomes, because when we work physically, we're cutting out the tumor, but we're kind of bumping heads, putting the cart before the horse around allowing the intelligence of the cells, the surrounding cells, to make the proper transitions biochemically, neurochemically, whatever, right? To eject that substance or even just alter and like reabsorb that tumor, just as an example. If you work energetically first, you're getting everybody on board, just like you said, getting all the cells to turn in that direction, getting all of the molecules to vibrate in unison, so that now we've got this synchrony element and everybody cooperates. Then you either cut out the tumor just because you want to, or you let it dissipate on its own.
That is some next level shit. That's so good.
Where we're going, I really think that a lot of us are downloading Atlantean codes and Lemurian codes right now, along with the cellular DNA codes, along with AI, just on the mainstream. Like, that's a big topic of conversation. AI, artificial intelligence, taking on a consciousness, becoming sentient, right? It's the topic because it's the future. And all of those things that we described are leveraging technology for shortening the transit time. So we don't have to grow the goat anymore.
Ooh, yes. Yeah. Can you speak a tiny bit, just because my audience might not be fully into the Lemurian codes and all of the things that you mentioned? Can you just like quickly
Sure. And I'm not an
explain?
expert on this at all, but basically, Earth is just one celestial body that is where our point of focus is on right now. But we all have participated in other celestial events, celestial lifetimes, where we've lived in other places. There's the star system of Sirius, and several others. And arguably, there was either another Earth like this one, or it was literally on this Earth in its past history. It depends on who you talk to, but it doesn't even matter. The point being, we, in another lifetime, lived in Atlantis, which we've all heard of Atlantis, which I
Yep.
think of Atlantis as like a Las Vegas on the water.
I was gonna say in the water.
Yeah, like imagine the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, like all that super high gold, high shine, high sheen, but it's really representative of high technology. We needed the metals, we need those high conductive materials for the kind of high technology leveraged in order to create things like flying cars, the drones that literally exist, which is alien technology a lot of the time. But anyway, the point being,
Yep.
we had this utopia, beautiful place where we were all still telepathic. We all still had that capability in the Lemurian form. Again, the water world version of this. It was high technology and high heart at the same time. So high integrity, high technology, phenomenal. If we're all telepathic and we all know everything about everyone, there's no deception. There's no lying. There's no scarcity. There's no fear. There's no need to steal, because if I want a thing you've got, you know that I want it already. And you can simply choose to either offer it to me, sell it to me, trade it to me, or tell me where I can get my own. But I can't sneak up on you in the night. I can't
Oh,
fault your system, right? So this is the version of high technology, high heart that I think a lot of us are feeling, consciously or not, drawn to return to, drawn toward, drawn to take a lesson from as well, because the story of Atlantis is that Atlantis was Lemuria, kind of, but with technology that got out of hand. So Elon Musk comes to mind. He is all about innovation. He's all about high speed transformation. And he's a little bit of a loose cannon. We don't know what side he's on. We don't know what really motivates him. Sometimes it's egoic, and that's clear, but that's his human aspect. But really, he's got this non-human aspect. Everybody knows that about him. He's clearly
sure.
this is probably his first walk on Earth, and his job, his sole mission, is to like portend change, like big time, big time, big time, bring us forward. And is he going to do it mindfully? Is he going to do it responsibly? He needs an ayahuasca
Mm.
bad. If we get him some psychedelics, this man would be so open and aware that he would become such an amazing mogul. We would have a Lemurian, I think, drive. Now, conversely, if he gets wind of like, I don't know why Bezos is coming on, but that vibe, right? Where it's just like all about me, consumption, greed, acquisition. That's Atlantis, unfortunately, where the high technology without the high heart leads to destruction, chaos, explosion, maybe nuclear war, et cetera, et cetera.
It's so good. This is so good. And so I am curious because I think of people that are like, okay, wait, I felt this, or I have seen this, or like maybe I've seen this online, and there's this level of fear around it. And I am getting into like a little bit of my interviewer mode right now, because I do know that some of my audience is like, what the fuck? Or like they're feeling like, ooh, this is resonating. How do you stay out of the fear and in the trust? How do you not allow the bigger worldly things that are happening, the fires, the drones, the inauguration, the this, or that? Like, how do you keep your energy crystal clear and stay in love?
I'm going to answer that two ways. One is you take the higher dimensional perch. You have to. And
Yeah. Yep.
in a second. And I'm also going to say, you do what I wasn't doing last week, where I really, really needed you, which was I was constipating my own human process by trying to get to the higher perch before processing my own here and now felt sense of I'm fucking pissed. I hate human deception.
Yeah.
I'm angry. I'm feeling sick. I feel violated. What the fucking fuck? I told you so. This is like, those were the things I needed to
Yeah.
hit in order to clear my field and move along and access this other place where I'm going to share right now. So, and this is my download. I would love to hear your download, Samantha. And I would also love to hear your women's download. Guys, let me just drop in, pause, and say this conversation is the conversation we all need to be having. And I literally use the N word on purpose. We need to be having it because this is our civic responsibility as earthlings. We are the guardians of the masses. We women have this ability to see, feel from a 360-degree purview. We know what the other side is thinking, even if we don't want to know it. They're not bad people. They think they're right too. Everyone's doing the best they can with what they know and what they've seen and what they've been told. And we are here to break through the noise and get back to, oh, we're human. Oh, we all want the same thing. Love, unity, safety, security, food, love, recognition, acknowledgement, belonging, right? We all want the same fucking thing. And it's going to be women who are going to bring back that awareness. And it's going to go through the men. Of course, it has to come to them because they're the ones holding the joystick, right? Pushing the red button. Okay. For me, this is what makes me feel better. I choose the higher perch from the perspective of the planet has its own soul journey. Planet Earth is evolving. She has been through so many ages and eras. She's not really going anywhere. We are just the bacteria on her body. And here's the other big thing. We are eternal. As a soul, Amron is just a tiny little fragment as a human of that soul ray coming from source. The soul ray coming from source is inhabiting many, many, many bodies. I might be a whale in the ocean. I might be something else. It doesn't matter, but I'm multiple things, multiple people. And when I see this from a soul perspective, when I look at things like Gaza, where people are being killed en masse, and I think about all of these souls that have chosen to be here now, knowing that that would happen, wanting the ride of it even. I just see the grand amalgamation of all the souls as like an amoebic entity moving forward. Now this is one lifetime. Now you die. This is the next lifetime. And now you die. But you're here with all of your other soul companions turning the wheel of evolution. Because the wars we have today are completely different, even though they're still wars, than the ones we had 3,000, 30,000 years ago. We are moving, and we're all here as part of this greater experience of source coming back into unity, wholeness, whatever you want to call it, but it fragmented out first. And that's where we got Adam and Eve, yin and yang, opposites, and and then that fragmented, and we had 4 different things that were different. And then we had 16 different things that were different. Like, think about mitosis, cell division. For every bad, there's a good. For every piece of shit, there's an awesome angelic complement. That's how I see it. And it's all in balance, or else we'd all fall apart. Like, that's kind of the gravity. That's the real gravity, is the balance of these forces. And so if we see ourselves as just part of the great all, one leaf on the tree, the leaf doesn't whine and have a fit about it becoming fall and winter. The leaf's about to go into the earth and then come back, bitches. I'm gonna be a daffodil next time. Watch out, right?
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
it helps. It helps. And it still hurts when you get a paper cut, like both
Yeah.
hands.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that part of what my unique specialty is in choosing this lifetime and choosing this body and choosing this path as a professional dancer, a Nike trainer, someone who's very, very in tune with her physical body. And everything that I've chosen that's been really challenging, chosen like as a soul before I came in, is the connection to the body. And so what lights me up about what you shared is the very human aspect of like, how do I feel the rage? How do I express this? How do I move this out of my physical body? And the embodiment piece is part of what I think is something that gets to be unlocked for women right now, is the permission to cry, to yell, to rage, to dance around a fire, to write your shit out on a piece of paper and burn it, to roll around on the ground and bang the floor, to allow, this was really interesting in a retreat I led this summer, to allow the energy to drop in from source and to be expressed in whatever way was needed in order for your cells to heal, release, transmute, and grow, activate, etc. And that was also a new experience for me too. I had had this experience for myself, but being able to guide it, I was like, oh fuck, like this is something. And so there's a potent piece for me in my medicine around this connection to body, this connection to this physical vessel that we have, and how we not just love and care for her, because I feel like there's a lot of that like outward self-care. We take a bubble bath, we get a massage, we like eat well. Yeah, beautiful, wonderful. But there's this deeper relationship with what our tissues are trying to tell us, what our tissues want to express, what our tissues are holding on to. And again, it comes back to, I'm holding on to these stories. I have this backache, and so it means blah, 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 blah. But like, what if you have this backache and you're like, I just need to fucking cry, and you cry, and then your back feels better? Like, what, again, that quantum shift, what if it's that simple? And it's like, how do we open up that conversation with your body?
Mm.
I have full chills and my nipples are hard.
Damn, girl, damn. I am so with you on that. I literally just had a huge thing come off of my heart physically when I resolved a 3-year break with one of my dearest sisters.
Mm.
Like in one day, from one day to 3 days later, it was gone. And it was a pain in my hip.
Wow.
And I didn't even know
Wow.
it was associated with her until I got the opportunity to tell her that I loved her and that I was hurt. And then her response was so loving, and it opened me up to actually share my story. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I think this pain is associated with that, and I think it's going to go away. And sure enough.
Wow.
Dude, this stuff is epic. It's epic. Like, we are both such simple machines, if you want to think of the body that way, and these harmonic, orchestrations of so many sentient elements. I really see every cell in our body as sentient and conscious and conscientious, and it's doing the best it can with what it has and what it's receiving. And what it's receiving is largely the vibrational countenance of what you are feeding it. Do you love your
Yeah.
body? Do you spurn your body, right? How are you with your body? Do you feel like you're on the same team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a lot, and it can be really, really hard when people choose bodies that aren't working for them,
Yes.
but
Yes.
it is a choice, and we do get to work with what we have. And I'm so with you on the higher information coming physically. Like, you and I think we have that in common. Like, we are both very body oriented people.
Yeah.
While you have described what you did coming from the, very professional, very like coiffed dance world, I was never a dancer, embarrassed to be seen dancing. And now I'm dancing the fuck out of my body. Ecstatic dance, all the ugly dancing, the ugly cry dance.
Yeah.
The thing that has liberated me from this very conventional, very, what's the word? Stoic and like poised,
Buttoned up.
buttoned up life. Like, I'm so buttoned up. Like, even my bun used to be so tight. It's still kind of tight, but it was like a running joke, like tight pussy, tight bun,
Yes.
tight
Yes.
energy. Like, I
Tight
had
throat.
so all of it truly. And
Yeah.
I just have so much respect for unbinding ourselves. So much respect for that.
And I want to speak to the dancer piece because I actually really resonate. And most people don't think this about dancers. They're like, oh, well, you're confident in your body and you feel your body, you know how to move your body. But part of my awakening and opening and really dropping even more into my body was honoring the fact that for 35 years, I was told what to do with my body. I was told what shapes to make, what steps to do, how fast to do them. I was judged on my body. And so my body was used as an instrument for art, but it was for someone else's art. It was for someone else's vision. And like, it was amazing and wonderful. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love that. But in order for me to fully own it, I would never social dance. I would never do anything. And I hated it because we'd get to a social situation. I'm like, oh, well, Sam's a dancer. What's she going to be doing? And I'm like awkwardly step touching because I was so uncomfortable. And
Wow.
so that was a really big unwinding for me of like, what actually feels good? Like, what do I actually want to do? What do my hips want to do? What does my chest want to do? That
Gosh.
was a totally wild journey. Yeah.
I just got so inspired to dance with you. Oh my gosh.
I
Like
can't wait.
just for fun. Like maybe we
I know.
host an ecstatic like retreat thing or something. I don't know, but wow,
We'll
woman,
play into that. And I just looked down and it was 5-5-5-5. So I know that we've been talking for almost an hour now. So I would love to give us just a few minutes to wrap up and drop in. I feel like we went all over into like the coolest, most amazing spaces. And I am feeling so much gratitude for you. I was feeling very emotional and tender today, actually, before we got on. And I was like, oh, we'll see where my energy goes today. I'm like, pregnancy hormones, just life. I don't know. But I am feeling so lit up and so inspired. Like, I'm just so grateful to have sisters in my life like you who can hold me, support me. And like, I also know that I get to do that for you. So it feels so good. And I'm so grateful that you came and just bopped on here. And we were like, let's hit record and see what happens. Like, my friends that are listening, whether you're in Amron's audience, you're in my community, let us know. Like, do you like these kinds of conversations? Should we do this again? What topics do you want to hear about? Like,
Definitely.
we are so service based. Like, we want to give you the nitty gritty and the real shit. And this
And
just lit me up. So,
and we want to learn from this. Like I've gotten
yeah,
so much in this conversation, even
yeah,
as
me
I'm
too.
literally channeling stuff about whatever in the moment. Like I'm getting it. It's not mine, and I'm pulling it in because this is the conversation that we are using as the drawing force, right? So I just want to respect that and really acknowledge that these conversations are so enriching for me. And when I host
Mm,
a circle or even my one-on-ones, what makes my one-on-ones so special to me is that I'm letting you in, like in, like
yeah.
you're my advisor too. Like we are connected. I'm showing you behind the veil. I'm showing you under the hood. Like I'm
Yep.
showing you under the kilt. I love that term. So it always makes because it's for the
I've
men.
never heard that before. So I'm like,
For
ooh,
the dudes, it's like show me what's under the kilt. For the dudes, like
oh my
yo
God.
man, what's up, bruh? What's under the kilt? I love it. But Samantha,
Oh,
I just want to acknowledge the snot out of you because I love you so much. I really so few women light me up. When you're the brightest light in your own life, it's hard to top you, you know? Everything you do, even when you're like wah, wah, sniffly, whatever. No, I'm here. I'm loving it. Your zest, you bring such zest. You bring brightness. You bring friendship. You bring like the essence of like amicability. Like let's I don't know, like it's just really comfortable in your space. I just want to say that. I just love
Mm,
I really appreciate everything that you do. I love the way you draw wisdom. I love the way you listen. I love the way you help calculate a very complex problem and serve it up to us for us to find our solutions. It's really beautiful. I love walking beside you. I love being your friend. I'm so thankful, truly.
I'm just going to breathe this all in. I'm going to receive. I'm going to practice receiving. And I just want to say thank you. And I have to say, when we first got into the space together, because we met through a mastermind, which is like amazing and awesome, I had you on a pedestal. And I was like, oh my God. Amron, she's so smart and she's sexy and she's cool and she's so fun and she eats this amazing food and she's a mom too. But what she's like, I was so like, who is this being? Who is this woman? And so to be able to release my pedestal bullshit and be able to be like, yeah, no, we're sisters and we walk this path together. Was a big growth for me, but you really invited me into that. I'm so grateful for you. I love you so, 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 so much.
I love you too.
I
I
love
can't
you.
wait to meet you in real flesh one day.
Oh my God, I know. All right. I know.
Oh my gosh.
All right, my friends.
Have the most beautiful day.
I'm going to close this out. Say again.
I said, have the most beautiful day.
Ah, thank you. Thank you. We'll see you guys soon.
All right.